that guy. It's not rolling down.
What are you doing? Just open the door.
There's no time. Wow, look how much better that guy looks.
I know.
That's what it's all about.
What's going on, T-Boosted? It's been a minute, probably about a month. I want to get right into this video and get started with a shop update, specifically the GT350 Mercedes. So let's go over to James and take a look at that. So James behind me is welding the intake. It's been modified so that the hood actually closes, because everything that we've built, it's been important to us that the hood closes because we think it's super lazy. When people do bullshit like hood exits or cut big ass holes in their hood.
I mean, I'm still gonna have to cut a medium ass hole in my hood for this, but you won't even be able to see it.
You've ruined my entire statement.
So this clip actually, depending on where I edit it into the video, jumps either a few days or it takes place a few days prior. But Devin and I run boosted shades, and during the holidays, Black Friday, stuff like that, it takes a ton of time. So it's been very difficult for us to balance YouTube in that. But that doesn't mean that progress isn't being made. James has been working on the GT350 rather.
I'm gonna call it the E52 Shelby Motor Group.
All right.
Here we go, boom.
It's got the Tavares tape and all, but this thing, once wired, is pretty much ready to fire up and do its maiden voyage. I personally think that James should leave the aesthetics just like this.
Well, I think this thing's gonna be a flat black rattle can boy for sure, because I'm kind of digging the whole rough and ready thing.
Okay, so there's a lot going on. You guys seen the dump pipes in the past. This is a stock GT350 drivetrain, essentially, same transmission, all that. But you got some wild shit going on with the suspension.
Right here, we've got a set of Part Shop Max. They're offset, like trailing spindles for an S14. I just finished drilling the top hats out for S14 top hats. Part Shop Max as well. I happened to notice that these are
S14 stuff?
Yeah, it's all S14 stuff. Everything on this S14 spindle, S14 control arm. The only Mercedes thing left in the suspension is actually the steering rack out of an E55.
Okay, cool. So that seems to all be there and working. The brakes look like
tiny.
Well, yeah, but 4-piston.
Yeah, they're 4-piston. I actually have some spacers so that I can run them with 350Z rotors coming, and then they'll be decent.
So the brakes are plumbed. The fuel system's done.
Yep.
All right, let's put it down. Let's show them this engine now, because I can see you got the cooling pack pretty much assembled, ready to go.
It's ready. I just need to pull it out and clean the radiator.
All right, so here is the moneymaker. GT350 engine. It was delivered on a pallet, a running pallet, be it that. And then what's going on, the only thing that you could really see is out of the ordinary is the intake manifold
really silly looking compared to a normal Ford product. This is more or less just so it'll actually fit under the hood. Because all of the Mustang stuff kind of goes up towards the front.
Is this a eBay special?
Oh yeah, this is like a $200 intake manifold. Really nice though. It's got velocity stacks on the inside. These runners are really big. They're port matched, really nice. So like,
looks good.
Go on eBay and buy the $200 Coyote manifold. It's a sure thing.
Everything else is custom.
Yeah, stainless. I've got a stainless lower pipe as well. I'm running a BMW
Fuel rails, are these stock?
Yep, those are the original GT350 fuel rails. All I had to do to get them to work with this intake manifold is I'm using like a 3/4 inch thick set of spacers that go between the fuel rail and the intake manifold's little mounting thing. You can see them, there's little steel spacers in there, just kind of barely under. Yeah, because that's aluminum, steel, and then the fuel rail. If you do that, you don't have to buy their like $200 fuel rail kit. Oh, and cool. You can just use stock ones. I don't know if it worked with stock 5-liter, but I mean, how different can it really be?
If you guys don't have access to a lathe, just use 700 washers.
I mean, yeah, you could use, look back here, for instance. Oh, I lost one of the bolts, so I'm using a super duper long bolt out in LS.
This is why we are hacks.
I mean, I'll go get the right bolt for it.
Eventually, or maybe you'll never will.
It's tight.
Yeah. So what are we looking at a timeline for first drive here so that people can get excited? Because this is the only project that we actually have being actively worked on.
Yeah, I've been dilly-dallying on it. The guys have had a lot of stuff going on with the holidays, like they mentioned, and I've just been kind of working onesie-twosie things. This could probably run this week, though, if we all worked on it.
Yeah, so we're gonna... The plan is to throw a day that we will probably film so you guys can see what's going on. It's just a little odds and ends. There's going to be wiring. The shifter linkage is yet to be done, and I think there's just a few more plumbing things.
We also have to do the throttle pedal, but I've got kind of a nifty idea for how I want to integrate that anyway, so...
But we'll save all that for the video.
We'll play that in the video. Yeah.
All right, so here's what's going on with that. This, however, is the other reason why we're not posting updates.
Yeah, this is a way more fun reason why.
So this is our $500 CNC machine from the 80s. It used to have this big, it was called the Bandit, this big like 8-bit computer hanging off the side, and we have been building and retro modding it to run modern computing software. And then we put encoders on these old motors to be able to receive instructions from our modern computer. So we are taking what we can with our space, budget, and time, and getting a CNC that will actually do CNC stuff. So, you know, there's all that that's being wired, and one of the hectic things is trying to integrate all of the old wiring into the new stuff. It's a big pain in the ass. And then I think these actually control the motors. This whole panel goes into this electrical box that's on the side over here. So having a CNC machine is going to enable us to make way more cool stuff. Whatever our next projects might be, it's always nice to be able to design something in a computer and then have it be made out of a block of billet. All right, boys, long story short, we think that it's probably time to sell the cars. It's a little bit of an end of an era. Before I get into why, let's just take a trip back in time. We've been doing YouTube for like 4 years now, and let's just see how we got here at this point with both of these cars.
I am here in the middle of nowhere. There is no there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up. No time to lay, to drift away. I find my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again, and as I fall I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go. Falling down from the sky and from the ground, up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
So incredibly good.
So there's actually a lot missing out of both of those montages, but we have dedicated videos for that if you want to go back and find them. Pretty much, there's clearly a lot of value to us in terms of the amount of hours we put in on both of these cars. As much as we'd like to keep them, at the end of the day, we don't really have the room. We want to start another project and have similar experiences again. And there's not much more we can do with both of these cars instead of completely change them, which we've already done with the Datsun twice. We're not interested in doing that again. And then another big part we can't ignore is the money from both of these cars will enable us to buy and fund something else, because it is not cheap building these cars. That brings me into the what comes next category. We want to keep doing YouTube. We want to keep building cars. It's a passion of ours. But like I said, we want to start something completely new. One of the ideas that we are kind of tossing around here is one of the first cars that I modified was a Mazda Rx8. What a lot of people don't realize about those chassis is they're one of the best. They're super balanced, close to 50-50 weight distribution. It's a wonderfully handling car. They're excellent on the track. They're just slow because of the Renesis. So we have an extra Maserati engine. Don't ask me how. We can get into that if we actually pull the trigger on this. But pretty much the goal would be to buy a RX-8 shell or one with a blown Renesis. If you guys have one, if anyone watching this has one, email us at teamboosted@boostedtrades.com. We'd be interested. And use the Maserati engine in it to create the Mazda-Rati. So it would have a very well balanced chassis and Italian V8 goodness. That's one of the ideas. We don't have the room for that, so you know, again, these cars, one of them has to go. We might keep one. We'll see. Obviously, other things that we could do, we could bring the one rotor back. A lot of you ask for that all the time. But a big portion of this video is I want your suggestions. We're not stone cold set on anything. The only project we have running right now is the GT350 Mercedes. That's going to continue to go on. But what do you want to see added? Suggest crazy ass stuff, because we can build it and we like doing things that are out of the ordinary. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.